Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I am THI publisher Andrew Jones, and the subject today, Carolina football and Omarion Hampton. I've done a couple of Omarion Hampton drops this season, and I'm going to do another one today because he deserves his props, and quite frankly, he's not getting enough of it. When I drive to Chapel Hill Mondays and Tuesdays for the press conferences, I live in Wake Forest, which is I'm about a 32, 34-mile drive to Kenan Stadium. So I'm in my car a little bit, and I listen to a lot of the SiriusXM College Football Network. And a lot of the stuff they talk about, especially this time of year, is the same 8 or so teams. And then they hit on Heisman stuff. And at this point, it's the same guys. But whenever someone's asked about a player that's off the beaten track that maybe should be considered a little bit more, Marvin Harrison's name at Ohio State obviously come up, but also Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State, the running back who didn't do a lot the first few games, but has exploded. And he is tied with Omarion Hampton at 128.5 yards a game as the leading rushers in college football. They both have 1,414 yards. But I never hear Hampton's name. I never, ever hear his name. ACC people talk about him some. The national people literally don't mention his name. Now, I have not seen Ollie Gordon play, so I can't speak to this, but there's room for 2 running backs on the All-America team. I know that Texas has a kid as well, or Texas Tech has a kid as well, Cal, and I'm looking at some stuff right here. You've got Missouri has a guy who's averaging about 115 yards. I'm looking at some of the bigger programs. A lot of mid-level G5 type programs have a lot of dudes represented, but the top 2 at Oklahoma State and at North Carolina. And the guy at Oklahoma State ain't playing with Drake May. He's the guy that they're featuring, and they're giving the ball to him a lot. And he, especially in the last 7-8 games or so. And I would venture to guess that the defenses that Drake and Omarion have played have been a little bit better, especially of late. Omarion went for 178 yards against Clemson. And there was this one run, really 2 of them actually. He had the 64-yarder with the fumble at the goal line, and then he had the 55-yard touchdown. And when we had our press conferences Monday, I asked Chip Lindsey, the offensive coordinator, about Omarion's shiftiness. It's something we didn't see before, and I'm not sure we saw a great deal of it early. He could be explosive. I think he's deceptively fast. He's maybe faster than he appears at times, but I think that's starting to change now. He's looking maybe as fast as he is, but it really struck me down at Clemson, sitting in the press box from my vantage point on the first run, the one that the ball was stripped at the goal line. Both those long runs were in between the guards, essentially. They were inside runs. And he kind of cut and was able to get around, I believe it was Barrett Carter from Clemson, then outrun a lot of Clemson defenders. Now, Clemson's defense is CFP good. This defense I would put up against a lot of the defenses they had that were on their CFP teams and even national championship teams. There's a lot of NFL cats all over the place in that defense. And what Omarion showed was the cutting ability and the shiftiness to get himself more yards. We've talked about the vision. We've talked about the decisiveness. We've talked about the patience. He hadn't fumbled all season until Saturday, so ball security is a huge thing for him. He's learning how to catch the ball a lot better. He's a fairly reliable receiver out of the backfield. He's doing a better job in pass protection in the backfield. So you can have him out there and not be as predictable as they were last year when he was out there. But to me, the next thing that we haven't really talked about until now is the shiftiness. The shiftiness was there at Clemson. Now, he had some runs that weren't great because the line was getting blown up a lot of the time. But when he had opportunities to get big gains, he did it. And very few people ever do that against Clemson for one run. But he had the 55-yard touchdown, and he had a 19-yard run that I thought he was about to spring for more than that as well. So what I'm getting at here is very simple. Against Miami, he goes for 197. Miami does not have a bad defense. Against Duke, he's around 150. He's at 178 in Death Valley. Who does that? He's proven lately against really good defenses, against a lot of talent on the other side of the ball, that he can be consistently effective. 6 straight 100-yard games, which is the second longest streak in Carolina history. And he's at 1,414 yards. He has a pretty good shot with a good game at NC State this weekend, which, by the way, is another top-notch defense. And then a bowl game where he could set Carolina's single-season rushing record. Now, the question I have for you guys, and I'm very curious to know what you objectively think, what chances does Omarion have to make first-team All-America? He's going to make first-team All-ACC. But what about first-team All-America? It's interesting because 3 months ago, when talking about, hey, what North Carolina Tar Heels are going to make All-America this year, first name out of everybody's mouth would have been Drake May, although Cedric Gray made some All-America teams last year. The next name would have been Cedric Gray, and I think Cedric still has a chance to do that. But nobody would have said Omarion Hampton. He didn't even start the opener with British Brooks. Now, maybe the staff knew that that would work itself out after a while, and part of that was a reward for British, but he did run for 100 yards that game. Omarion didn't have a great per carry average. He had a big game against App, and then not a great per carry average against Minnesota. And I remember doing a pod with Jacob where I said, we got to see what he does against P5. Well, boom, he exploded. And he has continued that tear for 6 straight games. And now he's tied for the National lead in rushing. So does he deserve first-team All-America status? Should Carolina embark on some kind of campaign? Because unlike Drake, whom they didn't really need a campaign for a year ago and had no plans on having one this year because his numbers were going to speak for themselves and everyone's going to pay attention. People are watching Carolina and they're not talking about Omarion. Maybe he needs a little bit of a campaign. Maybe there needs to be a push to get his name out there because he is fantastic. There are some people that know this game I've talked to lately that think he's better than Javonte Williams. And now than Javonte was as a junior. Javonte had to share a lot of stuff with Michael Carter, but there's also that balance of having that other guy punishing people as well. And they had Sam Howell. It's Omarion. He's the dude. And he has been phenomenal, running people over, yards after contact. Going into the Clemson game, 823 of his yards were after contact. I'll have to go back and look at what the stats were from Clemson, but 178 yards, I'm guessing at least half, more than half, probably a lot more than half were after contact. So he's closing in on 1,000 yards rushing on the season after contact. He's a beast. And he's sleek. He's a fleet-footed beast. How about that? You don't see that very often. But it's the shiftiness that I talked about early in this drop. That's the thing that caught me the other night. And honestly, every week, it's like something new. It's like Omarion's better this week than he was last week. And last week, he was better than he was the week before. He's going to get a test this weekend. Tar Heels are going to get that at Carter Finley. But right now, if you're a wagering guy and you wager on statistics, I would think Omarion Hampton for 100-plus yards is a pretty good bet. He's going to get the touches. State's defense is going to have to keep an eye on Drake to an extent. And there's tight ends and the way the Tar Heels can move the ball, especially when they're mixing it up early. And even if not, Drake wasn't very good against Clemson, 16 of 36, 209 yards, his worst game as a starter. But Omarion picked up 178 yards. He still did it. He's sensational. So let me know. What do you think? First team All-America? Is he a second team All-America? Should Carolina get on a very quick campaign to push him for All-America honors or other honors? Let me know what you think. If you like this video and you think if you think the Tar Heels should push Omarion, if you think UNC should blaster his name out there all over the place, go ahead and click like on this video. If you think Omarion Hampton should be first team All-America, and what about ACC Player of the Year? Or does Jordan Travis already locked that up since their schedule was over in league play until the championship game by the time he got hurt? I don't think Drake is probably going to win it, although he may get some votes. Does Omarion get more votes than Drake? That'll be interesting. A lot of stuff to chew on. I'm really curious to know what you guys think. No super declarative statements here in this drop, more an open-ended discussion with you guys. I think he should be All-America. I think he'll be first team All-ACC for sure. He might get some Player of the Year consideration. And I think he is probably the one Tar Heel that will make most All-America teams, provided that people around the country know who the heck he is. They all know who the guy from Oklahoma State is. I don't hear Omarion's name enough. Maybe the next couple of weeks we will, because he certainly deserves it. If you like this video, click that like button. If you like all this, click that like button. Jacob is so much better at telling you guys to click the like button than I am. I just want to move on out of the video and tell you, hey, come back next time. But Jacob is real good at that, so I need to take some cues from him. So shout out to Mr. Turner. Make sure you subscribe to our video, hit the notification bell so you get updates every time you upload. And don't forget, we are TarHeelIllustrated.com. So head on over there for just $8.33 a month. You can be an insider too. Same price we've had for 10 years. Nobody else has the same price for their product for the last 10 years, but we do. Come on over there. It helps us sustain these videos. It helps us get the stuff done that we need to get done and bring you the videos that so many of you enjoy. So thank you very much for that. Appreciate you guys stopping by, and we will talk this weekend after the basketball game Friday night and after the football game Saturday. Thanks.